Good afternoon, all, and a warm welcome to today's webinar, which we are organizing in partnership with Airtel Business Team. I think there's no doubt that this is one of the most difficult time for all of us as individuals, also for as employers. At NASSCOM, we have been continuously engaging with government, both at the state and central level, to ensure there is a minimum impact of this COVID-19 situation on our industry. And also to ensure that the health and safety of our people who are employed in the IT sector remains an important aspect. While we know that IT services are had already been recognized as critical services by various states, I think it's also more important now. A lot of services that we now provide to banking, healthcare, financials, that the services that we provide, there is no disruption to those services. And we require necessary infrastructure and resources to ensure there is no disruption to the work that we do. One such essential element, as we all know, is the internet connectivity, and a good internet connectivity, which can help us run our services without any issue. Now, given the COVID-19 situation, as we know, and states have been announcing lockdowns, asking companies to provide work from home to their employees, it has actually changed the way we are now working, and majority of our workers is now working from home. While companies have been providing all necessary supports and resources to their employees, be it laptop, desktops, internet dongles. However, there still remains a concern that whether the connectivity which is at the employee end is as good as it comes in the office. And while we understand that there could be some issues which employees are facing, and members are also reporting back to us, but those issues are at two levels. One which requires some intervention at the government level, which we are already discussing with Department of Telecom, IT, Commerce. At the same time, from industry also, there have been a lot of measures the industry have taken. For example, the OTT players have moved on from providing the high definition content to a standard definition content, so as to ensure there's no congestion into the network. At the same time, there can be solutions which companies can now take, which can help their employees to ensure there's no internet disruption that happens. And for that reason, we are doing this webinar today. As I mentioned, we have senior leadership from the Airtel business team who will present those solutions to you as an employers, and can help you take those measures to ensure your employees are able to work without any problem. For the webinar today, let me introduce you to Mr. Ashish Arora, who is the CEO Airtel Business India, Ms. Harmeen Mehta, she is a global CIO. Along with them, we also have their colleagues Jitendra Ahuja, Pankaj Chopra, Rohit Goyal, Prateek Kaka, and Ms. Shilpa Wadhwa. I would also like to thank Airtel Business and its team for partnering with NASSCOM for this initiative. We'll be doing similar webinars with other service providers as well, and we'll share those details in the coming days. We understand you have a lot of questions. We will take those questions towards the end of the webinar, but you can always type in your questions while the speaker is presenting. With that, I now request Ms. Harmeen Mehta to give her remarks. Thank you. Over to you, Harmeen.
Thanks, Deepak, and good afternoon, everybody. It's my pleasure to be here today, and we just thought we'll start by actually telling you on how the story has been for Airtel overall. As you all know, Airtel is, being a telecom company, it is part of essential services for India, and as such, a lot of the onus is also on us on keeping the country running at such a difficult time. If we can just move over the slides, please. So we'll cover three broad topics today. One, I'll just talk a little bit about business continuity challenges. So me, like most of you CIOs, the responsibility of running the BCP program for the company, as you know, falls on the CIO. So I can give you a bit of perspective in the second section on how we did it for Airtel as well. And then, of course, Ashish will help us understand all the comprehensive work from home solutions that Airtel has to offer, and how we can help each and every one of you in such unprecedented times as you go through enabling your organizations. Let's move forward. So talking from a business continuity perspective, one of the such a large telecom infrastructure across the country, I think the biggest hurdle that comes across any telecom is around maintaining the network experience. And from the moment that the lockdown was announced, we saw an almost immediate increase in the consumer traffic by about 25%. And this did not actually happen as a gradual increase as you normally see in the course of life. It happened literally overnight. At the same point, because of the lockdown, there was a lot of restriction of movement across the country, and that became as a major hurdle as well, as we really look towards seeing that what is it that we can do in case that we do encounter an issue, and as we augment the network. So what we have been doing over these last few weeks is really increasing the capacity, as well as the entire field force of network is fully digitized, which allows us to almost laser and micro identify which person is the right person to go and fix a particular fault or attend to a particular alert or event. And a lot of the investments that we did over the last couple of years in virtualizing and digitizing all of our network has really paid off in this time. What we also did was we took all of our corporate customers that we had, all our 4G customers across the entire corporate segment, and each one of them has been given a higher quality of service, which actually means that as compared to the normal consumers, these corporate customers would be getting an advantage on the network, and this is specifically beneficial in case you are latching on to a site which could be in a high congested area and in RWAs, etc. You will actually find that if there is somebody else in the same building and you, the entire experience is elevated if you're an Airtel corporate customer. And we did that only to make sure that we understand that all of you are working from home, and in order to give you the best possible experience. The other thing is we've also enabled voice over Wi-Fi. Most of us have Wi-Fi and broadband in our homes, and by actually changing the setting on your handset, by enabling voice over Wi-Fi, it allows a seamless handover of the mobile network with your Wi-Fi network, and it ensures that at every single corner of your house which is covered by the Wi-Fi network, you will have a very good voice experience as well. And the loss that you would normally experience on the radio waves as you go through the thick walls of a house, etc., all that is eliminated. So it's a much more enriched experience. The second big challenge was on operational resiliency. Running such a huge network covering over 300 million customers and hundreds of thousands of enterprises as well. Running the NOC at such a large scale, running call centers at such a large scale was definitely a challenge. We actually enabled almost 50,000 people to be working from home across the organization. And one of the first things, our first priority was virtualizing the NOC and creating a distributed NOC strategy. So our NOC is now distributed almost in 3 or 4 locations. So there is absolute zero concentration risk. We also divided our entire workforce in A and B, almost 2 parts, and we've ensured that part A and part B never intermingle with each other, so that in such a situation, if any of our workforce were to be impacted as well, there is always a segment of the workforce that's completely isolated, and we are able to continue to provide the services to the country. At the same time, we also created a virtualized contact centers to enable for all of our call centers to actually run from home, and also enhance the entire experience, that if there is something that we were previously able to resolve there and then, we are now able to even take a service request and everything on the IVR and through the agents and get that done, including the operation that needs to be done in the field force. Can we keep going, please? Other challenges that we had was on customer experience and customer services, the ability to provide the same level of experience. And one of the pieces that we saw was we started diverting. We've got a very intermingled way which we have cracked of integrating even IVRs with our web and app. And that complete omnichannel experience has been driving almost 60% more traffic into our digital channels as well. Airtel already has more than 100 million of our customers that interact with us digitally. So, but we have the last 10, 12, 14 days, we have seen almost constant surge of traffic on digital. So it's, and I know there's a joke going around in on WhatsApp as well, that whether it's the CIO or or COVID that has caused more digitization. And it is definitely true that the current situation has probably led to far more digitization in the country. The other thing that we have is we also have a very advanced decision tree that is very heavily enabled with AI and ML, that actually auto predicts the problems of the consumers and allows us to service the customers faster. And that has been, we've made a lot of enhancements in the first few days to really up the level and the ante on that, so that even with a reduced workforce, we are able to actually cater to a larger volume of customers, and see how much we can auto resolve their problems as well, without necessarily them calling us, etc. And then, of course, the other piece was on enabling every single business function. And we run a quad play, so it's not only mobility, but it's also fixed line and broadband, as well as the DTH functions across every single line of business and the network as a business as well. How do we provide absolutely secure access? As you can imagine, this is a very critical infrastructure for the country. So security across each of these protocols is paramount. We cannot have any kind of a vulnerability here. And in fact, the reality of the matter is that the level of attacks across the country on all the critical infrastructures have actually increased during this period, because a lot of the malicious elements also know that there are people who are working from home, and different access, etc., have been enabled at different points in time, and so on and so forth. So this has allowed us to ensure that we continue to service in a very high secure manner as well. And at the same time, we've enabled full collaboration. So Airtel actually, 100% of our employees, we have internal collaboration suites, and that's how we work. And that has been enhanced into our partners as well during this period. So like I said, more than 50,000 people are working across the country using our collaboration suite, as well as Zoom meetings for webinars and video conferences as well. In fact, we in engineering, I can tell you from a first-hand experience, we run in a very agile and Scrum methodologies used as a religion within engineering. And even our daily stand-ups happen through VC. So does the retro as the sprint planning meetings, etc. So we've actually in Airtel, from a leadership point of view and the teams below, we did not change our calendars at all. Every meeting that we had before continues to run in exactly the same manner. And that's how we've been operating over the last few days. And what we also did was any, even whether it's our network staff or our partners on the network side, everybody was onboarded in the first 2 days itself. So day 3, 100% of Airtel was actually virtually running from home. If we can go to the next slide, please. So I just thought I'll also share some of our learning experiences. And one of them was that the biggest advantage you can give your company is get everybody up and running really, really quickly, rather than doing in a staggered manner. And I think that's where some of our BCP readiness, as well as all the solutions that we have for working from home, really came into handy. And as I already said, within 48 hours, we had more than 50,000 people enabled to be working from home. The collaboration element is something that we realized that what used to be kind of our collaboration suite, that kind of product engineering as they work together, as in typical tech companies normally do really, really well, we saw that same extending across our entire field force, even in a distributed manner, where you can imagine that for a retailer we've got over 1 million retailers out there, and more than 200,000 of them are still open because they are part of essential services. Getting the money to them for them to be able to do recharges, etc. Everything happens through a collaborative manner and a digital manner. And all of that has been enabled, that every single sales guy as a normal rhythm, knows which retailer to call, how much money he's got left in his wallet, when it needs to be topped up. Everything is done remotely. Our knock, we've been very fortunate over the last 18 months. We have actually automatized our entire knock. We actually run one of only India's AI-led knock, which is almost completely humanless. And from having almost 3-digit people running that knock about 2 years ago to less than 4 people in the knock today, it is because of the investments we made in our AI ops, and that has given us a very big edge. Plus, a large part of Airtel actually runs on the cloud. We run it on a private cloud, but it is fully virtualized and fully on the cloud. And that again, by the nature of that, accessing any of the applications is very, very easy. We also have an ability to have clientless VPNs, which can run for web applications, which allows that even if there is a new joining, we've not even stopped our hiring, a new engineer joining, he or she is also up and running within 24 hours. And then, of course, we've had to tighten our SOC operations and cybersecurity and up the ante, and the alert levels, as you know, in the country are higher. So definitely our SOC alert levels are also higher. And I think, again, our SOC is very, very AI driven, and that's what allowed us to take actions very quickly. In fact, 70% of our security operations is auto run and doesn't need any human involvement. If we can keep going, please, Pradeep. So that's the, sorry, a slide back. So that's the summary of the work from home solutions that we have, from connectivity to collaboration to full security suite, as well as ways of engaging with your customers. Like I said, we have over 300 million customers, and besides the regular messages that we've sent, there are a lot of government messages we've had to send as well during this time, plus all of our alternative ways of working. So we have a capability of actually sending almost 1 billion messages over the course of a day across the 1.3 billion Indians that are out there. And that's what we've been doing for a lot of our partners, not only for ourselves as well. I'm actually going to hand over to my colleague Ashish to take you through all the work from home solutions in greater details.
Thanks, Harmeen. Thanks a lot. So as Harmeen outlined, these are the 4 critical areas: connectivity, collaboration, security, and engagement, which are part and parcel of the entire work from home suite. And I'll just quickly take through what all we can do for you as customers who really need work from home as a solution in this environment to really enable your organization to work smoothly. So I'll just quickly take you through that. Next slide, please. So on the connectivity side, if you look at it, there are 3 different layers of connectivity which we are enabling today. One is your core backbone, and obviously as the traffic increase, while some of your backbone connectivity in office may not be used, but your central ports are becoming choked, and therefore what we can do to support you there. How do we support you at the home side, both in terms of wired and wireless? And we have some very, very innovative solutions which are absolutely created for this kind of a scenario to really address it in a very, very fast manner. Can we move to the next slide? So on your core backbone, 2 things we can do immediately for you. One is depending on your congestion, and in fact most of the customers we are promptly communicating from our side when we are observing any congestion on your side. We can enable a quick and fast upgrades to these capacities. No need to go through a formal documentation process. Email is fast, email is good enough. Reach out to your CAM, send us an email, and we would be able to upgrade your capacity very, very quickly, typically within 24 to 48 hours. And that's the service we are offering to customers. More than 800, 900 customers have already availed to this as a service. The other part is we also have specifically on the international leg on the internet, as well as internet, bustable capacity options. So if you are currently not very clear what your actual capacity need would be, but you still want to create some headroom at your central sites, we can give you a bustable capacity option, which can take care of the capacity burst, the usage burst, and you only pay for the time when the bursting happens. So both these options, this option exists for your international as well as internet, and we can serve customers with that. Next one. Obviously the other part of the jigsaw is how do you connect your employees. So while your central port is working fine, you have enough capacity to support your entire traffic, but how does the employee connect to those central ports? There are two options. One is the broadband, which is the wired connectivity. Now, most of the organizations find the employees are already using some or other form of broadband services. But one of the issues in this kind of a situation is that they may not have enough quota on their broadband, or the quota is getting exhausted using their personal usage. So one of the solution we can do for you is that all your employees, if you choose to, we can top up their personal broadband quota, and it can be paid by you to the employee, and employee can reimburse to us. So in that way, in one shot, you can be sure that all your employees have enough quota on their broadband so that their official works never get impacted. The other option, of course, is that if you want to enable your employees not just today but over a long run, by having a corporate connectivity of broadband, which means a corporate design plan, corporate delivery process, corporate support process, we can sign a one single contract and connect all your employees. All that billing can happen to you directly, and you can pay. So you know that your employees already have a very good service coming at all points of time. Can we move on? The second option, of course, is 4G. Now, 4G is quite ubiquitous, and as Harmeen explained, we have also enabled some very specific priority QoS on 4G today for our premium customers to enable much better quality of service as compared to the overall network. And that is allowing a lot of our customers, especially B2B customers, to effectively use 4G as a last mile for work from home. Again, here you have two kind of options. One is your employee already have 4G SIM from Airtel. You can top up the quota centrally for all your employees and make sure that they don't get your quota exhausted as they are using 4G for connecting for work from home. Second option here is that in case your employee does not have a device, we can also give a MiFi plus 4G SIM bundle. And you can give a device with a 4G SIM. He just have to connect it on your laptop and start using it. Or if you want your employee to use his own device, then you can also issue him a company paid 4G SIM, which he can start using for work from home. So all the options exist as far as the 4G is concerned. You can either top up, give him a new SIM, or give him a bundle of device plus SIM, and ensure that either as a backup or as a primary, he always have a 4G based connectivity to really use for work from home. Collaboration, that's the second part of this jigsaw. So while you have a good robust connectivity, you need platforms to be able to engage many, one to many and many to many. And that's where these collaboration tools are important. We at Airtel have tie-up with both Zoom and WebEx. What we have done uniquely is that we have hosted these platforms in India, which allows two things. One, from a regulatory framework point of view, they are complying to every single regulation which this country is requiring, including data privacy regulations. Two, it is very well integrated with our entire PSTN and domestic mobile and fixed line network, which means your employee, while they're using the platforms, if they want to just connect over a voice connection, they can still connect it. They don't need to be only on voice. So those are the benefits one Airtel is able to offer over and above the technology which Zoom and WebEx offer. Two use case scenario, of course, virtual meetings, very effectively being used by us also. As Harmeen mentioned, we have already done 18,000 plus such meetings. Very robust platform, allows all kind of formats to connect, allow all kind of content sharing and messaging to be done. Second big use case is webinars. Again, in this environment, communicating to your entire employee base on how things are progressing, what organizations are doing to support them in this time, what is the expectation from them, is very critical. So the communication is very well supported on webinar. We at Airtel have done webinars in which more than 8-10,000 people have attended in a single session. A very effective tool, and this is something we can offer you. Both these options, the Zoom and WebEx, are something which we can enable in few hours for you. So if you have a request to enable this, within 4 to 6 hours, we can enable it for you. This does not really need any longer time than that. Harmeen, if you can please cover this.
Sure. So on the cloud security and the cybersecurity solutions, what the kind of propositions that we have actually cover all kinds of organizations. If you are a highly tech-led cloud application, web application based organization, we can actually offer even clientless VPN and secure access into your applications very easily and literally over hours to enable people to be working from home. If it is somewhere where it is on your in your data center, etc., then all the applications are more back-end heavy core applications, or a lot of COTS packages as well from companies like IBM or Oracle and so on and so forth. Then for that, there are full VPN solutions that we can enable from on-prem as well. And then in addition, everything related to whether it's virtual desktops, etc., all of that is there. But what is much more important is the different layers of authentication that are needed for complete auditing of all the user activities with a multi-layer, multi-factor authentication as well. That is very, very important. Plus our SOC services on any kind of secure application access actually monitors what kind of people and heuristics on those access into the various applications to automatically detect any anomalies and then report them back into your organization, so you can assess if there is somebody who's actually trying to take advantage of the situation as well. And at the same time, I'm sure many of you who are working in any kind of a sensitive field would be seeing that whether it's phishing attacks or it's vulnerability attacks, they are on the rise across the country. And the main reason for that is all these hackers also know that organizations are allowing access and opening up access outside their data centers to allow people to work from home. And that is also an opportunity for them. While people are worried about other things, you tend to let your guard down. That's what they're trying to take advantage of. So there is a very comprehensive threat intelligence program that we have as well. We actually run the SOC for a lot of financial institutions and other companies across the country as well. So we actually get a lot of the intelligence feeds from not only intelligence agencies, which of course we are very much a part of, being at critical infrastructure in the country, but also across the world as well. And all that intelligence we pass back to you from our SOC, and also have very deep SSL level protocols that we can monitor all the encrypted traffic as well. Again, combining the power of both our cybersecurity practice as well as the fact that we run the telco on which all of these happen. I already said we have a very high automation AI-led SOC, which actually use all the SOAR tools, as well as partnership with some of the topmost security companies in the country that we have been working with, and a lot of expertise in-house, which we use both for Airtel as well as all of our customers. So anything we can do on that, we'd be more than happy to help. Next slide. So I think between Ashish and me, we've covered these 4 aspects. So we've covered how we can enable companies across collaboration on cybersecurity, your entire connectivity needs, and then of course helping you manage your customers as well by keeping in touch with them, constant communication, whether it's personalized bulk emails, SMSs, or any kind of outbound calling, intelligent IVRs, anything and everything. So if there is anything we can do, we're here. Both of us are here along with a broader team to field any Q&A that you might have. Deepak, back to you, please.
Thank you, Harmeen. Thank you, Ashish, for those insights and letting us know the various solutions that you provide. Audience will now go into the question answers round. Rohit, I have got some questions from the members. I have already assigned it to you. so you can take them one by one and assign it to the relevant team member.
Sure. Thanks, Deepak. So we have received a lot of questions. I will pass on to them to Harmeen and Ashish. So this is first question for you, Harmeen. How can you help in monitoring of security breaches which customers might face during this period? Is there a SOC service which can be initiated quickly?
Yes, absolutely. We can have the SOC service, as I already talked about. So we run one of the largest world-class SOCs out of Gurgaon. It's a dedicated facility and it's a huge facility. We've had, in fact, recently did an event with several of the local CIO fraternity coming over there and seeing our operations in action. We also use the same SOC monitors our telecom as well as our own bank, rest of our companies, and many other financial services institutions across the country as well. And we can get it up and running as soon as literally we can get your endpoints integrated into our SOC. And the quickest we have done is literally over a period of 2 days for some of the customers as well. So the facility is very much available, and as I already mentioned, we provide both threat intelligence, which is on everything that's happening around the space in the country and internationally as well. And at the same time, since we run the telco service as well, and as you guys can well imagine, any kind of a DDoS attack or traffic actually runs on the network. So we actually provide a very comprehensive solution, which actually only a telco can provide on security, which is from the security from the network layer itself to your endpoints, to into your cloud and into your application layer. We can stitch all of that across, and that's what our SOC does. So very happy to help anybody on that front.
Sure. Thanks, Harmeen. Ashish, the next question is for you. DoT required static IP address for work from home users. Are you providing static IP and will there be any additional cost associated to this?
So on the broadband services, yes, we are providing static IP, and there would be a small additional cost for that. But yes, we are in a position to provide that. When you are reaching out to us, please put it in your request, and we should be able to do that for you.
Okay. And another question is how Zoom paid license is different from the free demo option available online? For you, Ashish.
So one is, of course, the time window itself is 45 minutes. In case of free license, paid one, there is no such time window. There are a lot of other features which come with the paid license, which are not including the webcasting and others. So there's a detailed list. Maybe we can share that with you separately if you can just reach out to us.
Yeah. So, I mean, another question related to SOC itself, that while many employees have started working from home, is the home broadband traffic is also tracked for any malicious or cybersecurity threats?
Yes, it is, and it depends on the service that is provided. In fact, we are working on a brand new product as well, which we actually launched within this month, which is on secure DSL, because we are bringing the same level of security that we provide on enterprises. We're bringing that into the home as well. Today, the level of monitoring would not be at the same level as the as a commercial line, but with this new feature, we are able to, in fact, provide full control. And in fact, part of this feature is something that we would be offering you, where you will also have full control and visibility of what kind of traffic is actually coming into your broadband pipe as well. So the secure DSL solution, given the current scenario, is what we are actually accelerating, and what was due to come earlier in the summer, we're now trying to see if we can get it out within this month.
All right, thanks. Ashish, there are a couple of questions around the same topic. That does DOT, is your field staff allowed to travel with hardware for upgrade or break fix? And there is a similar question related to, are MiFi SIM available and can they be delivered to employees in these times?
So yes, so we are covered under essential services, and basis that we have got various permits to be able to travel, to continue to manage the continuity of service for ourselves as well as our customers. So yes, they are, but of course it's not seamless environment out there. They do face difficulties, they do get questioned. A lot of time the constraints are also at the customer end, where their own societies and campuses are not allowing people in. But we have almost 8,000-10,000 people on the field trying to do their job in serving customers on an everyday basis. As far as MiFi is concerned, yes, we did have a short period of stock out on that, but now we have availability of MiFi created. We have got new devices in our stocks now. So if you have a specific requirement of MiFi, please reach out to your team or reach out to us, and we should be able to serve that.
Sure, thanks. And there is one specific query around how can we help in VoIP services for B2B BPO processes?
So we don't have VoIP as a so we don't have VoIP as a service. But we do have a solution where if you have access flow over of your toll-free number, 1800 numbers, if you're receiving more calls than what your switches can support, we have a solution which can help you take care of that, and it can direct the calls to the users at home, and they can then receive it. So something like that, we have a solution, but not necessarily VoIP.
All right. And another question, with the current situation where most of the employees are now working from home, are we looking at diverting the quality of service towards individual customers from corporates? Ashish, if you can take a...
So as I said, there is no diversion of any service as such, but for a high value customers and corporate customers specifically, we have done data prioritization. So within the pool of customers connecting to a tower, these set of customers will experience a better data service. And that's the one feature we have enabled on the network, but obviously to a select pool of customers, specifically corporates. The second is, of course, we have enabled Wi-Fi, voice over Wi-Fi, which is open to all customers. We already have 12 million customers using. So for voice part of it, they can use any Wi-Fi at home and enable this service over Airtel app. It is just a simple click saying yes, we want to use it, and then you can start using it. Any Wi-Fi can be enabled to connect to our network, and if you have a service deterioration inside your home, this can take care of that.
Sure. Thanks, Ashish. Another question for you again, Ashish. Can you elaborate more on boosting the signals at home?
So
I think this is around the voice over Wi-Fi.
So we didn't say about boosting the signal. We said you anyway have a Wi-Fi working at home. It could be using any broadband service provider. It could be Airtel. It could be anyone else. You will latch onto this Wi-Fi, and through this Wi-Fi, you will latch onto the nearest Airtel tower. This is a technology which is enabled on Airtel networks. You have to opt for it using the Airtel app. It is open for all our customers. Any customer of ours can be enabled on this, and we already have 12 million customers who are using it. Harmeen, would you want to add to it?
I think that's right. It's basically with a higher quality of service, voice over Wi-Fi, you should actually have a much better quality across both conversations and now on data as well. So and this is something we've done literally over the last few days. So would very much encourage people to just go back and reflect if they've actually noticed that there should be a difference. We've outcalled several customers as well and seen massive differences as well. A lot of our platinum customers and our corporate customers are the only ones who get this, hence it's the max that we can do on this has been done, and I think largely, I mean, I personally am a voice over Wi-Fi user, and I can tell you the difference is quite significant. It's quite stark. So if you're not enabled Wi-Fi on your phone, please go to your phone settings and enable it. We've now opened it up to work on, even if you don't have an Airtel broadband, we've now collaborated across the country and it'll work on other broadbands as well. So all of Airtel customers are actually able to use the service now.
Sure, thanks, Harmeen. Another question, Harmeen, I guess you might want to take this. Private VPN, that is office to home, is it possible in MiFi 4G dongle?
So yes, actually there is a possibility of creating a private VPN from the dongle as well. But at the same time, it also doesn't really matter. There are other solutions because your dongle is just a connectivity pipe. The VPN can actually ride as a layer on top as well. And like I said, today there are a lot of clientless solutions available out there, as well as the ones which require a small client to be installed on the desktop, and that can ride on over whatever is your access protocol, whether it's broadband or MiFi or even your phone acting as a hotspot, can be enabled across all of those. So technology is so advanced today that every bit of that and every combination of that is very much possible. So whatever is the specific needs for you and your company, do let us know, and I'm quite confident that we would have a solution for that.
Thanks, Harmeen. Ashish, this is for you. There have been a couple of questions on this, that there are some areas where Airtel fixed line broadband services are not available at the moment. So how does Airtel plan to fulfill these requirements if user do not want to go over a dongle or a wireless connection?
Very frankly, under these under these circumstances where there's a lockdown, we are really not in a position to expand our network reach to areas which are not covered. What we are able to serve right now is only the buildings and offices which are already connected and wired. So that is where we are today as far as the this within lockdown period. However, we are very aggressively increasing our footprint of the network. We have added more than 2.5 million to 3 million new home connections in last 6 months or so, and we'll continue to add so much more every month. So as we speak, this coverage is increasing. We are also increasing the number of cities we are serving. We are adding 25 more cities. But yeah, within this window of lockdown, within this window of next 30-odd days, 15 to 30 days, we can only serve the pockets which are already wired right now.
Okay. Thanks, Ashish. And then again, there have been multiple questions around how can we quickly enable enterprise-wide transition to Airtel during this lockdown? How can we reduce the lead time and portability for the entire organization?
So if you're talking about data SIM, it's quite simple. We can give you fresh data SIM. There's no number portability required in it. It's the activity we can very quickly do. Same is true on MiFi. So that these things are very easy and simple to do, and we are doing it for tens of thousands of customers on a daily basis. As far as mobile voice SIM is concerned, again, we are trying to enable digital migration of customers on the voice SIMs as well, and therefore would be happy to engage with the group here if they are interested in migrating out of their current operator to Airtel. We should be able to quickly enable that as well. We have digital tools to do that.
Sure. Thanks, Ashish. For Harmeen, next question for you. So I know this is a very wide question. So how long does it take to implement security solutions?
So I think as compared to most other solutions, especially we're talking hosted security solutions, these are probably some of the fastest to enable in an organization. I mean, there are some top tech startups in the country that we worked with over the last few months, and some of them have taken, like I said, literally days. We've done some implementations over 48 hours to 7 days. And some can take a little longer. In most of the implementations, I think it's a tango dance, so it's also help needed from your side. But if you can put the teams together, these are normally very fast because they are quite standardized integrations, because the security solutions by their very nature have to work across platforms, OEMs, and technologies. So they're quite standardized, and we do have a great team of experts that actually goes and does this in record time. So compared to other implementation, I would say security ones are actually some of the fastest.
Thanks, Harmeen. So Ashish, there are a few questions around corporate broadband on how will this work, and many have written that they are giving 4G SIMs, but that is not sufficient. So how they would like to roll out corporate broadband for multiple home users. So are those similar to home plans, or how will this work?
No, so we have different plans for B2B, designed a little differently, but more specifically, as one of the participant earlier asked, in corporate we also offer a static IP, which is a critical requirement for work from home. So we do that. The other elements which are different in corporate plan is that we manage the entire centralized engagement in terms of documentation, in terms of project rollout, as well as in terms of, in case they want to bill and pay from one side, we should be able to give them the summary invoice and payment as well. So the entire engagement is more like B2B, like we do for all other lines, the similar kind of engagement for corporate broadband. We are in a position to do this right away, and we'll be happy to engage. If you can just send us a request, we'll make sure someone speaks with you in next few hours and take this forward. Only constraint we have at this point in time is only the mobility of people on the ground. But we are still able to, I mean, our rate of delivery in broadband, if just to give you some context, is at the rate of around 80 to 100% of what we were doing earlier. So while requirements have gone up, but it's not that our delivery rates have gone down. We are just trying to ramp it up as quickly as possible.
Thanks, Ashish. Harmeen, next question for you. What are the steps taken by Airtel to overcome the bandwidth crunch that people are facing while working from home?
So several steps have been taken on the network actually to do that. In fact, just so you all know, we monitor this constantly, and as the top leadership team of the company, it is discussed and reviewed every single day, and that includes the Sunday as well. So we meet every day as a leadership team to go through various points, and our network experience for our consumers is an everyday point on that as well. 2-3 things that one of the biggest, boldest steps that actually people might not know, but it's Airtel, in fact, our CEO, who led through that, working together with the regulator, Government of India, as well as Sanjay and many of the other OTT players, was where we requested a lot of the OTT players, Netflix, Amazon Prime, and YouTube, to stop beaming on the mobile everything by default at 1080p and drop down to 360p. And I think that is what has made a significant difference, because as video consumptions, people being at home, etc., has gone up, but at least on the mobile, on the broadband, it has not made an experience. But this is something that telcos have worked across the globe, and every country, US, Europe, parts of Asia, everybody has done this. And that's where we took an initiative as an industry to work across with all the OTT players to still provide a good experience, but instead of ultra high definition on the mobile as it streams, it is streamed now as more closer to standard definition. And some of the platforms you can go and change some of the settings, but largely it has now become a mandate from the government of India that while the lockdown continues, this is what has to be maintained by all these players. And that has actually helped us a lot in allowing to divert all that strength of the network and that bandwidth over to consumers to allow you a better experience as you work from home, literally. So that's one of the various pieces we've done. Like I already said, we've augmented our capacity as well, and we are constantly monitoring for any choke points. And a lot of the networks today are self-optimizing networks, so the auto balance if there is a higher congestion coming in one area versus another. So that is anyway at its at work, but we are also monitoring a large part of the parameters very closely and making judgments and calls as they are needed.
Sure. Thanks, Harmeen. Another question for you. Is there any service for endpoint security offered by Airtel?
Yes, full endpoint security is offered by us. So whoever is the gentleman or lady who asked the questions, we're very happy to work through with you on that one. In fact, they're very rapid implementation solutions as well across this space. So whatever the needs, we actually cover this for some of the topmost companies in the country as well. So, and a lot of the tech startups. Very happy to support on that.
Thanks, Harmeen. Ashish, next question for you. Does Airtel has any employee notification system message blast to all the employees?
Yeah, so we do have, and in fact, Harmeen did mention one of the key elements of this entire BCP for us was how do we engage each and every employee of ours. And we have platforms which allow for SMS blasts. The platform is called Digimate. Again, something which is available as a service to all our customers. So if someone is interested to make leverage that, happy to do that. We have outbound messaging platforms along with this in the same Digimate platform. So there are multiple channels of communication which we can enable, and there's a platform. All you have to do is give us the message, give us the numbers, and we should be able to enable that for you. And we have been extensively using that ourselves. Of course, the other platform which we extensively use is the webcasting. Again, and almost the entire organization joins some of the webcast sessions which Gopal himself led. And it's a very engaging platform to really kind of update and take inputs from everyone.
Sure. Thanks, Ashish. Another question, this is around connectivity issues that many employees are facing connectivity issues, and when they're calling call centers, they are advised to wait till lockdown.
They are advised to?
Wait till the lockdown lasts.
So, sorry, Rohit, this is at our call center?
Yes. So this.
If it's our call center, I can help answer, and maybe Ashish you can add. But our call centers are not. They're just advising that there might be some slowness in service, especially if we need to come and visit, do a premise visit in case there's a problem, with your broadband line or router or something like that that requires an on-prem visit. That's the only case, because then we have to take permission for our engineer to be on the road, and then permission from your RWA or society for the engineer to enter, and so on and so forth. And it is for your own safety as well as the safety of our staff as well. So, but the call centers are fully servicing. In fact, more than 90% of whatever help is needed in Airtel, you are able to solve on the IVR, and everything else is fielded back as a service request. But if there's anything specific that we've not been able to help you with, please reach out to any of us. We're we're all here to help anywhere and everywhere we can. And on the enterprise side, in fact, a lot of the requests actually come via email, and that is fully serviceable. In fact, me and Ajay, we take a stock every single day with the team on how things are going there, and we're fully up and running on that front as we work from home as well. So there should be no drop in service on that front. Rohit, maybe we can request the person to reach out to all of us, and we're very happy to see what is missed and how we can help.
Sure. I mean, I will work with Deepak. Yeah, I will do that. Another question is around how BCP works in case of server failure, and do you have any solution for the same? So, Harmeen, Ashish, any one of you?
I can take from the application side, and maybe Ashish can add on the broader enterprise network side. But so any kind of server failure, yeah, we have. So it depends on what level of virtualizations you have, but we one of the pieces we've done for some of our clients during this time is actually provided them extra capacity by linking from their their data centers or application servers into our own service as well, and our own data centers. And hence they are able to offload that extra capacity onto some of our infrastructure. And at the same time, we can also help, also run the cloud business for the company. So we can also help in a full virtualized solutions and full live backups, etc., which we can take and allow for any such of an eventuality as well. If you're running in a virtual environment and or a cloud environment, then of course, if there's a hardware failure, it makes absolutely no difference. In fact, one internal stat which I can share is in Airtel today, 72% of our hardware failures are also auto-healed and don't require any human intervention as well. And it's only the remaining 28% where somebody has to intervene because a part has to be replaced, etc. But that also is done offline, and online services don't get disrupted. So today's technology allows for a large part of that, and how dynamically workload can be managed, and we are able to manage that dynamic workload. We can help manage that within your premise as well, and also an offshoot out of that, either on the cloud or in our own data centers as an extension of your virtualized co-location, which we can do as well. So that also we do provide as a service. So again, do let us know the specific request, and we'll be more than happy to help.
Sure. Thanks, Harmeen. Ashish, this question is around KYC, on how customers can opt for Airtel payment KYC in this lockdown situation.
Sorry, what is it?
So how customers can opt for payment KYC in this lockdown situation?
Harmeen, would you have idea how you're doing in Airtel Payment Banks, the KYC in this situation?
So banking is an essential service, so that continues as well. We have at this moment between the Airtel Bank and Airtel about 200,000 retailers which are still open. So we're doing KYC through them, both for the bank as well as for the telco side as well. We are actually in discussions on enabling a service to do this from home as well, but there are a few regulatory approvals, etc., that are currently in place, and so for that I would just say, just watch this space for the next few days, and hopefully we'll be able to overcome that as well. But I mean, the regulatory norms have not relaxed, so the process that needed to be followed before, the same process has to be followed today as well.
Sure. Deepak, I think there are a few more questions, but we are out of time. Probably we will connect and try to answer those offline. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you once again, Ashish and Harmeen. Audience, so we are almost at the end of our time. Unfortunately, we could not answer all the questions, but you can always reach back to us. You can write to me and to the team Airtel. Their IDs are in front of you. As NASSCOM, as I said, we will continue this exercise with other service providers as well. And we hope that today's webinar would help you in terms of ensuring that your employees are able to now work in a better way. The Airtel already demonstrated the solutions that you have. And in case you want to reach out to them or to us, please feel free to write back to us. With that, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Airtel Business. Thank you, Prateek, Rohit, and everyone for helping us putting this together. Thank you.
Thanks, Deepak.
Thank you.
Thanks, Deepak. Thanks everyone for joining today afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.